Well, howdy everybody. Trying a different camera here, and so far I don't like it, but I'm wanting to switch cameras because I've been doing all these videos on my iPhone, and I really hate the piece of crap. It's supplied by my employer, so I guess I can't complain about too much, except they gave me the lowest. It's a 6, so I think it's only a 16 gig, and runs out of space really quick, and I'm constantly screwing with it. So I've got this old Pentax WG1. We don't use it a whole lot, and it's only got a 4 gig card in it, so according to this countdown, I've only got 10 minutes worth of record time. So I don't know if this is any better. I don't know if I'm going to like the video off of it. But I thought I'd come out here and shoot a Sunday afternoon video and kind of show you what I'm working on right now. I've ordered the timing chain and timing cover. That all is coming. I also got an oil filter and the oil pan plug, so that's a plus. Came out here and did some cleaning and made some room for some stuff. And thought I'd come in here and start looking at gauge placement. There we go, get the reflection off those. These are Equus. They're a nice looking set of gauges. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do the volts yet. I mean, I want it to read battery voltage, but of course I don't want that gauge on all the time. So I'll probably throw a relay in that circuit and key it off of the ignition switch. The reason I want to read battery voltage is because this truck is going to be hauling a lot of my RC stuff around, and I'll be charging my LiPo batteries off of it. So I want to be able to keep an eye on where that is. So as I'm talking here, I'm kind of thinking, you know, I'll key it off the ignition switch, but maybe I'll also put a secondary momentary switch just in here on the dash somewhere that I can just reach in and hit it, that will show me truck voltage. So also, probably haven't shown you guys the inside of this. Those are my Fosgates that I put in. Nice speaker, not really well mounted. And this material I put on, and I cannot remember the name of it. I never can. It's a material that we use at work for the machines that we build, and it's a high impact material. So I mean, you're supposed to be able to drop parts on it continuously, and it's not supposed to break or anything. Well, first and foremost, this is $300 a sheet, which I didn't pay anywhere near that. I used all scraps, so I actually ended up not paying anything. But I did find 2 pieces that were large enough to do 1 per each side, so that helped. Wasn't the best cutouts. They don't fit quite the best. I'm hoping to get a router here sometime, so I might clean them up with that and do some trim work just to make them look nice. I did some tests with some scrap pieces, and what I found was this stuff reacts to water in ways that I never imagined before. Because that was a concern, you know. I mean, it's a Bronco, so you want to be able to take the top off. So I took a piece and I stuck it in a glass of water and I left it there for like 3 days. And when I came back, it had soaked up a lot of the water. There was probably half of it sticking out of the water to begin with, and the whole board was saturated. You could tell there was just water clear through it. But it retained its durability. It didn't give any more than it did before. I mean, this stuff is really strong. You can smack it with a hammer and it doesn't do anything to it. Took it out of the water and laid it out for maybe 2 hours, came back and it was bone dry. So the stuff deals with water really well. So that's why I went with it. But again, for you guys at home, anybody who doesn't have access to this stuff like I do, it's $300 a sheet for the 1/4 inch. I think that's what I used. It might be a little bit thicker, but not a cost-effective material, but a really nice material. So I'm going to play around with some locations for gauges in here and see what I can come up with. Alright, I'm starting to formulate a plan here. This is the trim piece that would be lower right hand side, just underneath the steering column. And here's a better look at that material that I used in the back. It cuts real nice, cuts real easy. It's super easy to work with, and probably just blew your ears out, but really durable. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a piece that will fit over this area and another one to fit over this area. And I'll probably just go ahead and cut that all out. I need to go get my Dremel. And the idea is the volts will be over here with enough room for a little push button like I was talking about. And then my oil and water will just fit next to each other inside this opening. So if I space this up, I got plenty of room. So it's going to look nice. It's going to be just down on the lower part of the dash. Easy to look at. Not directly in eyesight, but I think it'll work. So, okay. So I grabbed my rotary tool. Sorry, it's not a Dremel. My dad got this for me a couple of years ago. Tool shop. I think he got it at Harbor Freight. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he got it at Ace. Anyways, really nice unit for like half the price. The thing's got tons of power. Anyways, tool plug. So I've kind of roughed out my opening, which is going really well. I'm just using just a straight burr tool, and it's eating right through this ABS or whatever this stuff is. I think it's ABS, but polycarb. But yeah, it's working really well, so I'm happy with it. I'm going to keep going. I thought about opening these on up. I don't think I will. Yeah, I think I'll massage the edges of these and make everything look really nice and just fits in place. And so, okay. Alright, let's see if you can see this. Yeah, there we go. So I've got my large piece all lined out for the outside. Just so happens at the end of my little ruler here is the exact same radius as these outside corners. So that worked out nice. Now, disclaimer. This is where I don't always shine. I'm trying to do this detail work and cut straight lines. Tools is probably part of the problem. I've got a little Delta bandsaw over there that I bought, and it needed belts for the pulleys, and I bought them. I have no idea where they are. That was like 6 months ago. So I have a bandsaw I could use, except I can't use it. So I'm going to try and do this with a jigsaw, which will probably turn into a disaster. Well, that went pretty good. It's not perfect, but neither is the truck, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. Thinner material might have been a little more ideal, but it'll work. And all it has to do is hold a couple of gauges. To do my radiuses, which again aren't perfect, but again I don't care. Again, I own a belt sander that isn't set up. I should probably come out here and start setting up tools so I can use them when I need them, but whatever. So I did something incredibly dangerous and put a fresh grinding wheel on my angle grinder and just held it here and ran it that way. So don't do that. But it worked, so I'm happy. See how the rest of this ends up. Start to cut holes now. Not looking forward to that. Okay, so this is the top of my bracket, or faceplate, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to keep the gauges up high, and if I need switches later on, I'll have room down here for stuff that I can add. So I'm going to try and center this up and see where we end up. Okay, to give you a quick idea of what I'm doing here. These are like 1.5 inch gauges or something like that, so I wasn't real comfortable just trying to cut a hole using just a jigsaw. This would be a lot easier with a router mounted to a table. To give you some ideas of what I'm talking about, check out a dude by the name of Doug Bernards. His channel is Soundman CA or Soundman. If you just look up Soundman, you'll find him, but he's a car audio installer. I've probably mentioned him a few other times. But he uses a router table for practically everything, cutting holes, doing design work. And that's probably pretty common practice now within the car audio industry, but that was the first time I'd really ever seen somebody utilize a router that much. So I'm planning on getting one, because there's a lot of projects, not just car audio related, not just truck related, that I want to do, and it just looks like zipping it out on a router would be a lot easier with a guided bit. But I don't have that, so I'm doing these little relief cuts, and then I'm trimming it out, and then I'm using the flapper wheel on my die grinder to finalize my size. I'm staying inside just a little bit, and this one fits really nice. It's got a little chamfer around the edge here, and the gauge just sits real nice in there. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll show you what it looks like as a finished product. Well, I have to admit, I'm pretty happy with how those came out. Nice fit. I probably should have protected my material a little bit better. It got a little roughed up. The backside shows some vibration marks. So, but you know what? It's going to serve its purpose. So now I just need to find some hardware to hold that in with, and I might go through my RC stuff and just use some Allens. Just a couple in the corners, and back them up with a nut. Probably be good enough. So, I got some coarse thread ones too. Maybe I can just use those and go straight in. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. I'm going to go ahead and start on this one here. This radius here is going to be fun trying to translate out. So that one could be some work. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start on that. This really went better than I thought, and I think they're going to look pretty nice. Alright, so production's here, so we got to clean some stuff up here and get our act together, right?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So I got them put together.
Yeah.
And, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I talk?
Yep.
Okay. I really like how they came out. I think they look good.
Is that light not...
Hey, if you want me to get these videos done, you need to be quiet, okay?
Is that light up or down?
That light is up. Is that how it should be?
Yep. That light where is it?
Alright, can we go back?
Yep.
Okay. And action.
In action.
So, yeah, I like how the front looks, but the back, they didn't get as tight as I thought they would going into this polycarb. And then those two completely missed, but they were just right on the edge. So I nutted and washered them. God, I wish I would focus. This camera is terrible. So I think it'll work. I'll probably just pop the panel off. So I'm going to test fit the panel now and see how it actually fits in there with all this extra hardware and stuff, and see if I need to modify the guts of the dash any. So we'll take a look at that. Well, that went really well. I didn't have to modify anything to get those to slide right in, which is perfect. I haven't reached around to feel how things are on the back side, but honestly, it shouldn't matter because there's an opening there. So, yeah, I'm really happy with that. The placement isn't ideal. I mean, that's looking through the bottom. This is, the steering wheel's locked, but this is kind of driver's position. My seat's kind of broken anyway, so yeah, this is right in my face. So I have to lean forward to see him. I mean, I do have everything in the dash. I was really just more wanting those to have a more accurate representation of what's going on. So I'm pretty happy. Positioning might not be ideal for a lot of people, but I think for what I'm doing, it's going to work really well. I'm going to put that little momentary button right there to activate this gauge when the ignition's off. And then I got some spots here that I can put some small micro switches if I need to. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I think production is pretty happy with what we're turning out today, right?
Yep.
Okay.